Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Arena for varsity basketball competition. Please welcome our guests from Hagerty High School. They are the Huskies. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before our game begins, we ask that you please stand as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Hagerty. And we'll start at forward with sophomore number 3, Caleb Barber. At forward, junior number 12, Walker Mitchell. At forward, sophomore number 20, Aiden Salati. At forward, junior number 23, Ja Enzi. And finally for the Huskies, at guard, sophomore number 33, Andrew Broom. And the Huskies are coached by Coach Cohn along with Coach Hamilton. And now, let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Starting at guard, 5'10" sophomore, number 33, Abia Charles. At point guard, 6' junior, number 3, Jamaric Hammond. At shooting guard, 6'4" senior, number 1, Donovan Stokes. At power forward, 6'3" senior, number 12, Nikhil Edward. And finally for the Mustangs at power forward, 6'2" senior, number 21, Rodancy Hagerty. And welcome to Mustang Arena. Mark Bargy, the voice of the Mustangs, joining you along with Neil Fisher of the Apopka Chief. Ready to take you through tonight's varsity contest. The Mustangs getting the opening tip-off here, and this game will put a cap on the 2020-2021 regular season. Jacatine fouled on the attempt. He'll shoot 2.
So thank you again, Mark, as always. And as you mentioned, one last time, a fine introduction and handling of the pregame ceremonies. Of course, we are coming live from Mustang Gymnasium. Mark mentioned this is the regular season finale for Wekiva, who's in the white jerseys, and the score remains 0-0. They will be trying to finish out their season with an 11-13 record. Hagerty has one more game tomorrow night, and they are 10-13. So a pair of teams that have almost identical records and a pair of teams that are looking to get a couple victories and head into their district championship tournament with some momentum. And the rain drops.
Andrew Broom for 3.
So right off the bat, first possession, Hagerty takes that 3-0 lead. And of course, junior varsity action took place before the proliferation of those trees by the JV team, so certainly would continue up to the varsity level. This is Stokes, and looked like he got away with an up and down there. Hammond now stops, goes back to his right, off the front, off the side actually, and Hagerty comes back the other way.
Tough pass gets wrangled in by Enzi. And the Huskies will go into rotation. Down the baseline, we're going to get a foul, and it's going to be before he went up. Caleb Barber drawing that. Foul called against Mustangs, number 21, Rogi Jacatine. That's his first and the team's first.
So with Hagerty losing the ball, this is Stokes bringing it up on the left side. He's going to go straight over to Hammond on the right. Hammond hits the deck, no call, and the ball is pulled down by Barber. Come back the other way. Hagerty in the dark jerseys, 3-0 lead. They swing it around to the left. And if you watch the junior varsity action, this passing action certainly looks familiar. Setting up those three-pointers with some very unique and distinct style of passing. Barber with the tray, kicks off that side. Scramble on the left block. Charles just grabs it and he'll lead the offense on the other side. Stops, spins from 6 feet, no good, off the heel. Some nice Windex work. Doing some work on that fingertips was Edward, and he can't get the put back, and the score remains 3-0. And so we got a stoppage, 5:36 remaining in the first quarter. Your lineups, if you tuned in before Mark announced them, for Hagerty in the black jerseys with the 3-0 lead. Number 3, Barber, the forward. Number 12, Mitchell, the forward. Number 20, Salati, the forward. Enzi, number 23, the forward. And Broom, the guard, number 33. And another shot that was Broom taking, comes up short. Stokes, that's Laster, who has come into the game. Off to Hammond.
Yeah, that's a change to the normal starting lineup. Laster not in, Abia Charles in his place. And then the other change is, of course, Isaiah Bannister-Duchette is undergoing concussion protocol, and so he is not on the roster tonight. Rogi Jacatine took his place.
Yeah, and the three other starters, three other Mustangs on the floor. Number 12, point forward, Edward. Number 1, shooting guard, Stokes. And number 3, point guard, Hammond. That was Charles taking the first tray. Still no score for Wekiva. They're down 3-0 as we approach halfway through the first quarter. The spinning, wheeling, weaving drive. Charles, again, inserted into the lineup, doing a nice job, coming up with a couple rebounds early. Unfortunately, that time he loses the dribble and will come back the other way.
And Broom on the steal.
Rotating around down to the right corner. Barber winds up with it. Hagerty with possession. And down to the left corner. Barber again going corner to corner and drains the rain.
Broom for 3.
So, excuse me, that was actually Broom who dropped the tray. He's 33. Barber is number 3. This is Hammond, the counterpart, number 3 himself. And his shot's going to be too far off to the left. But some strong rebound by Edward. Kind of an odd style there. He just stopped a couple of times. Nonetheless, Wekiva maintains possession under 4 minutes in the first quarter. Not much scoring, only 6-0. And Charles unable to hold on to the pass from Stokes. So the clock has moved fairly efficiently. This game tipped off in real time about 7 minutes ago. And we have actually gone 4 minutes and 24 into this game. But as far as the pace of scoring, a very slow pace. 6-0, Hagerty in the lead, in possession of the ball. The bounce pass over to Enzi, unable to drop it, and Hammond comes down with the rebound. And let's see what he does on offense. Kicks it out to the corner. That's Profit, who's JV call up. He's unable to get it.
Broom on the rebound. And Enzi will set up the half-court set, or rather he won't. Instead, he's going to draw a foul here. Jai Enzi fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against Mustangs, number 32, Vosi Profit, his first, the team's first.
So once again, Hagerty comes in with a 10-13 record. Wekiva comes in at 11-13. Excuse me, Wekiva is 10-13. Hagerty is 10 and 13. So a pair of 10 and 13 teams. As we get a timeout, we'll talk a little bit more about
30-second
that.
timeout called by the Mustangs.
And so we'll go to commercial. 8-0, 3:07 remaining. Hagerty in the lead. And welcome back. Mustang Gymnasium is the site. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network, partnering with the Broadcast Production Department at Wekiva. An 8-0 start to this game for Hagerty, who is on defense. This is Jamarick Hammond, the point guard for Wekiva, looking to finally get on the board. So again, not much scoring, a low percentage for both teams shooting under 20%.
Well, Wekiva specifically shooting 0%. And here we have Walker Mitchell gets the basket and a chance to make it a three-point play. The foul is called against Jamarick Hammond. That's his first personal foul, the team's third.
But Andrew Broom has come out shooting the ball well. He is 2 of 2. Not only 2 of 2, but he's 2 of 2 from three-point range. So 6 of the 10 points being dropped by Broom. And he actually accounted for those first 6 points and really gave Hagerty, really established Hagerty with the lead, gave him some momentum. And now Wekiva facing 11-0 lead. We're 2:30 from the end of the first quarter. Pair of teams that come in 10 and 13. For Hagerty, that is a bit of a surprise. They have been in general, they have been at least contending team to get into the state playoffs throughout their history. They're a couple years older than Wekiva.
Well, and Neil, you and I have been doing this long enough that we remember when they were a regional rival of the Mustangs and actually thwarted the Mustangs' regional trip to the playoffs a couple of times as Walker Mitchell scores 2 for the Huskies.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going. Not recently, but in this early years, the first 7-8 years, Wekiva and Hagerty were a very intense rivalry.
I want to say at least twice Hagerty was the team that knocked Wekiva out of the regional playoffs, and once was in overtime, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and that was in 2013. You look over to my right, and Wekiva has that regional final. That's the round of 8 banner, and that run ended in the regional final to Hagerty in double overtime as Wekiva drops his first points.
Talario Pringle drains one in for 2.
That's Pringle, the JV Collins. So that game not only was won by Hagerty, but Hagerty went on to win their state championship. And, of course, Josh Cohn is still the coach. He's the only coach Hagerty has ever known.
Ja Enzi for 3.
So 16-2 is the score. Now, Hagerty's starting to heat up from the field. They are 3 of 4 on their last field goal attempts. 55 seconds remaining.
Foul called against number 3, Caleb Barber. That's his second personal foul, the team's second as well. Jamarick Hammond returns to the game for the Mustangs.
So certainly if you're Wekiva, you got to get some points, certainly on this possession, or this game's going to be too far out of reach to win. Again, they could afford that slow start there for about the first 4 minutes because Hagerty wasn't much better. Other than Broom, no one was scoring. But now Hagerty has scored 3 of their last 4 possessions.
And now finally the Mustangs are going to get something to go their way as Isaiah Laster draws the foul. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against number 33, Andrew Broom, his first personal foul, and the team's third.
41 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 16-2 is the Hagerty lead. And Isaiah Laster at the free throw line, and he gets some much-needed points by Wekiva. Again, that's not going to really make a tremendous dent into the lead, but you certainly want to get some momentum, some confidence, establish some semblance of being able to score heading into the second quarter. And the second one, yes, gets that roll. A little bit of luck, and Wekiva goes 2 for 2 at the line. 16-4 is the score. Hagerty brings the ball up. Oh, defensive back action there by Laster. He's going to take it himself and make the withdrawal from the bank.
Isaiah Laster steals 2 for the Mustangs.
So a 16-2 lead is now 16-6. And again, Wekiva needed to get some points, and which they did. And a foul.
I think this is going to be behind the arc, too. Foul is called against Mustangs number 33, Avia Charles, on the block. That's his first personal foul. And it's the team's fourth, and that was behind the arc. Ja Enzi will shoot 3.
So Wekiva gets a couple of very strong possessions. They go to the free throw line, convert both free throws, and then come up with a nice turnover. Laster looking much like a defensive back, jumping the route. But then they commit the foul, and they commit the foul while the shooter is shooting from three-point range. So they give back 3 of those 4 points, and that leaves the score at 18-6. As we head to the end of the first quarter, that's Pringle, and he drains the rain, the JV call-up. The JV call-up doing some work for Wekiva. 3 seconds remaining. I don't think Hagerty realizes that. But they do get the shot off, and no, off the heel. Nonetheless, they take a 19-9 lead into the second quarter.
That takes us to the end of the first period. 19-9 is the score at the end of the first. The Huskies have the opening possession of the second quarter. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, and Sports Information Director here at Wekiva High School, joined by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, and ready to take you through the second 8 minutes, and hoping the Mustangs can maybe get a little pep in their step here. And hopefully that first quarter was enough to get their blood circulating.
Yeah, a 19-9 score. At one time it was 16-2. So some headway made into that early lead taken by Hagerty. Again, that was an unusual quarter. Hagerty, both teams started off slow as make the withdrawal.
Donovan Stokes from Jared Bryan.
Bryan cutting the lead to 19-11. Of course, Wekiva gave up the first 12 points, so they were 0% at one point, and Hagerty was below 20. And the slash and dash through the lane for Mitchell.
Walker Mitchell down the paint for 2.
Then Hagerty went through a period of scoring on 4 out of 5 possessions. That was the same for their attempts from the field. And suddenly a 6-0 game became 14-0.
Vovsi Profit from Donovan Stokes for 3.
And so Profit, the JV call-up, we've seen this in a couple of other games, Mark. When they need him to get some points off that bench, he delivers. 21-14. The tray does not drop for Hagerty. Laster pulls down the rebound, doing some Windex work. Off to Pringle, another JV call. Back out to Laster, top of the key. Kicks off the heel, scramble.
Nice work by Bryan getting to the rebound, boxing out, just like the coaches tell you to do.
Yeah.
To the corner, got an open man. Profit down the baseline. Short. And the rebound is going to go to Broom.
Laster got some fingertips on it, but he wasn't able to corral the ball. Nonetheless, Wekiva starting to get some shots and getting some quality shots. Did not see that in the first quarter. And Laster going for the interception, unable to get it. Broom steps up, actually. Saletti stepping up, and now on the other end, this is Laster. And he gets rejected, and we come the other way. Mitchell. Nice, easy layup off
Walker
the
Mitchell
backboard.
adds 2.
So certainly the pace of scoring has picked up after the first 4 minutes, being only 6 points. And taking a quick look, again, a somewhat unusual half in the fact that Hagerty and Wekiva both started off cold. And then during the second half of that first quarter, Hagerty heated up, going through a stretch of 4 or 5 from the field. Stokes drives the baseline, kicks it out to the corner, another pass. And this is Bryan. He's going to drive, tries to get the pass, swatted away, and Hagerty unable to keep control. Pringle to Stokes.
And Profit immediately steals it back. And so one good turnover deserves another. The Mustangs go to the corner, and they've got it. Vosi Profit from Donovan Stokes for 3. And that's an instant replay of what we saw in the Mustangs' last successful possession. Cuts the lead to 6.
Taking a look at the stats as
short for Mitchell.
Mitchell, yeah, short. This is Stokes coming the other way. Hagerty wound up 5 of 10 from the field. The rain does not drop for Profit.
Yeah, that was a near repeat for the third time of what we've seen. The basket decided, though, that was too rich.
And
now we're going to get a basket and a foul.
So
Ja Enzi scores the basket with a chance to make it a 3-point play. The foul is called against Mustangs. Number 11, Jared Bryan, his first, and the team's 5th.
And so that 50% Hagerty shooting from the field, 5 of 10, is going against only 23 for Wekiva. Again, Wekiva missed its first 5 shots. They did not score until about 2 minutes worth remaining. And now the lead is 25-17 as the free throw drops. Another important stat is Hagerty 6 of 6 from the line, Wekiva 2 of 4, so a 4-point differential. So really, field goal shooting has been the stat early in this game. Hagerty starting off cold, only getting a couple free throws through their first 8 attempts, but they wound up at 50% at the end of the first quarter. And score the deuce.
Putback made by Abia Charles.
Charles with the deuce, 26-19, 4 minutes before halftime. And what is Wekiva's regular season finale. Of course, they will go on the road as next week for the district championship tournament at 6A4. That tournament is being played at Southlake High School in Groveland. They will be playing the host school as the 3 seed. Southlake will be the number 2 seed. And both these teams, Hagerty and Wekiva, come into this game 10-13. So both teams have an opportunity to finish the season at 500, but more immediately you want to get some momentum heading into those district championship tournaments, some confidence, and something of a blueprint to come out with a win. So in the meantime, Hagerty continues that sharp passing along the perimeter. 3:20 remaining before halftime. The double team against Enzi. He gets rid of it over to Mitchell. Back to Enzi. Drains the rain from the corner.
Ja Enzi for 3 on the pass from Mitchell.
So some tough, aggressive, active defense for Wekiva, but Hagerty plays some better offense. 29-19, Hammond steps up, does not get the tray to drop off the front of the heel, and Enzi making a statement, a strong rebound, got up high, you could hear the ball slapping his hands, and unfortunately loses the grip, and we will have a turnover.
No, actually, that's going to get called a kickball. So we'll stay with Hagerty.
Okay. Excuse me, I thought the ball went out of bounds. So inbound, Hagerty keeps possession. Mitchell with it at the top of the key. Down to the corner where Saletti handles it. In between pass. Over to Enzi, the drop away from 10 feet.
Enzi from Saletti for 2.
And that will reestablish the lead at 12, 31-19. Wekiva with possession now. This is Davis trying to figure out what to do. Hands off to Charles, who was a starter. Doesn't matter. As I say, you don't get points for athleticism. All that matters is the point.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief. And Neil, it's been something of a frustrating start for Wekiva. They've managed to stay in it, but only through much weeping and gnashing of teeth. It's a 14-point game for Hagerty here on the final game of the regular season for the Mustangs, second to last game of the season for Hagerty.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. I think gnashing of the teeth is about as good as you can describe it. They fell behind 12-0, obviously not scoring any points as they turned the ball over on the first possession. That means that you have you're not converting any of your field goal percent. You're at 0%. Hagerty, but for their start, they had a cold start as well, and now we're going to go back the other way. The steal by Hammond and make the withdrawal from Stokes.
Hammond to Stokes for the first points of the half.
Hagerty started off 2 of 8 from the field, but those 2 field goals were trays from Andrew Broom, and that gave them a 6-0 lead. They actually scored 12 straight to start the game. They heated up, going 4 or 5 at one point, and Hagerty
Enzi for 3 from Broom.
So Wekiva was able to get the lead down to 7 points, but then, of course, several bad decisions. The lead goes back up to 14 at halftime.
And this is a game, for those of you who haven't followed along what happened last week, you would typically expect tonight would have been senior night, because that is tradition to make your last regular season home game senior night. That is not what happened this year. The Mustangs elected to play it safe and have their senior night last week at their second to last home game. And the reason for that is a lot of teams actually have done something like that this year, because you just don't know. The schedules have been so volatile that you don't know what games are going to get canceled. You don't know if COVID protocol is going to get engaged either for yourself or for your opponent, or if contact tracing is going to require you to cancel or reschedule or postpone games. And you just don't want to take a chance with senior night, because if tonight had been senior night and for any reason this game got canceled, then that would have been curtains for the whole thing. And so that was the smart thing to do, and that's why we had senior night last week. Fortunately, those fears were unfounded, and we are back, we're playing, and our schedule was uninterrupted this week. We could have had it tonight, and it would have been fine, but we didn't know that at the time, and so the Mustangs made the wise choice there. And like I said, a lot of teams have done just exactly the same thing, as Broom pulls down a 3 for the Huskies.
Yeah, and speaking of Broom, mentioned he dropped the first 2 buckets of the game. They were from 3-point range, and he comes back again.
Jamarick Hammond from the paint for the Mustangs.
So at least something of an answer from Hammond on that floating 6-foot J. 45-29 is the score. 3.5 minutes into the second half. So again, Hagerty started off cold, only 2 of 8. They actually ended that half at 50%, 12 of 24, including 5 of 11 from the tray.
Enzi for 3 from Broom.
And they just continue to knock those trays down. A couple more on the last possessions. Hammond answers.
Jamarick Hammond for 3.
So we're going 3 crazy now. 3's dropped on 4 of the last 5 possessions combined. And now we'll get a possibility of doing the old-fashioned tray.
Enzi for 3 with the basket and a chance to make it a 3-point play. The foul is called against Avia Charles.
So just to close out the field goal percentage, as NZ does drop the free throw and ups the lead to 50-32, which is the largest of the game for Hagerty. 50% again for Hagerty. Wekiva shooting 31%. And as I mentioned, they missed, I believe it was their first 7 or 8 shots. So 31% actually is an improvement. But of course the problem is they were already starting at 0 compared to about 20%, 25 for Hagerty.
And what a night Enzi is having, as we get another 3-point basket from Jamarick Hammond.
So 51-35, that does cut the lead to 16. Again, Hagerty did have the largest lead of the game before that tray at 19.
And we got a timeout.
Yeah, Hagerty takes the timeout.
30-second timeout requested by the Huskies.
Yeah, Coach Cohn did not like that ball going out of bounds. The team did look very discombobulated. He says, let's talk about it. 51-35, 4:14 remaining. This is the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena, back to live action. Hagerty didn't like the way that play was materializing. Coach Cohn took 30 seconds to chat it over. And for those, we've got a steal here. Picked off by Laster, and he draws a foul. Isaiah Laster fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot two. The foul is called against number 33, Andrew Broom, his third, the team's first.
So Hagerty has led from start to finish. They scored the first 12 points of the game. And they got that lead all the way up to 19 a couple possessions ago. Wekiva now cutting back into that lead, couple of possessions, consecutive possessions in which they scored.
Laster picks up his 5th point right there, looking to make it 6.
Couple of dribbles, and the shot, that's true as well. 2 for 2 from the line for Laster, cuts the lead to 51-37. Wekiva in that 1-3-1 trap. They started that about midway through the first half. They continue into the second half. Hagerty with possession. Barber, left wing extended, hands the ball off, and another turnover, third consecutive turnover for Hagerty. See if Wekiva can take advantage. That's Laster from the corner. Short, Barber in the right place at the right time, and he will hand it off to Mitchell, who brings the offense. Back to Barber. And again, talked about this with JV and Varsity, same exact thing. This is a very efficient, methodical passing team. So they don't really set the offense. They just move that ball quickly. There's very few dribbles. Does not pay dividends this time. Hammond gets the ball back out to Stokes, and he will set the offense. He's going to drive, kick it back out to Edward. Short. Rebound in the withdrawal. Second chance point by Charles.
Abia Charles gets the putback for the Mustangs.
So Wekiva scoring on 3 consecutive possessions. Once again, they have cut that lead back down to 12, 3:02 before the end of the third quarter. And again, the 1-3-1 trap causing some problems for Hagerty.
In transition, one-on-one, and the basket made by Caleb Barber.
And there's the disadvantage, the risk you take of going to that 1-3-1 trap. Once the offense clears it, you got a pretty open shot at the other end. Back to Hammond from the corner. No rain. And the ball tipped out to Broom. He'll kick it out to Enzi. Enzi drives the lane, floating layup, count it in, the trip to the lane.
Ja Enzi gets the basket and a chance to make it a 3-point play. The foul is called against Mustangs. Number 33, Abia Charles. That's his 3rd personal foul, the team's 2nd of the half.
And so the score is 55-39. And the trend continues. The story continues, Mark. Wekiva gets that lead down to about 10, 12 points. They make 3 or 4 consecutive possessions while well executed, and then they make a mistake, and suddenly that leads to a couple of consecutive possessions in which Hagerty scores. Now the lead is up to 17, 56-39. And the turnover for
held ball,
Wekiva.
Possession, Huskies.
So
yeah, whenever you have a held ball and possession arrow is against you, that counts as a turnover and a steal. And so Ja Enzi with that last free throw in the 3-point play, that picked up his 33rd point of the game for those of you keeping score. And unfortunately for the Mustangs, we are. Just incredible, 33 points. I mean, if he's trending toward, upwards of 40 on the night at the rate he's going.
Yeah, we still got 10 minutes remaining. This is Stokes off the side, kicks over across that rim.
Salati ultimately comes up with it in the paint. Quick movements to the other side. In transition, an attempted block from behind, but couldn't do it legally. And Andrew Broom is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against Donovan Stokes, his 3rd, the team's 3rd as well.
Yeah, and Mark, I mentioned this just a couple minutes ago. The trend throughout this game as far as like a storyline, Hagerty scored the first 12 points. Wekiva has been battling. They've been looking uphill all night, and they have had several runs, about half a dozen, where they've been able to cut the lead to 10 points, even 8 a couple of times, and then they make one bad decision, and that one bad decision sparks off a run for Hagerty, and then the lead goes back up to 18, 19 points. And that's exactly where we are right now, 57-39.
Foul is called against number 23, Gianzi. That's his first personal foul. The team's second this half. Mustangs will get the ball at their own baseline. Maybe the first thing that Gianzi has done wrong all night.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, he has 33 points and only one foul, so foul problems is not an issue for him.
Bosi Prophet is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot two for the Mustangs. The foul is called against number 20, Aiden Salati. That's his first personal foul, the team's third.
So if you're Coach Cone, that's the Hagerty coach, with that one foul committed by Enzi, you certainly have the option of keeping him in. You don't have to worry about taking him out because of foul trouble. In the meantime, Prophet at the line with 9 points, the leading scorer for Wekiva. And he will get one of two to cut the lead to 57-40.
Foul is called against Mustangs, number 12, Nikhil Edward. That's his first personal foul, the team's fourth.
So now Wekiva remains in that 1-3-1 full court trap. And again, you see the disadvantage, the risk, once they clear that initial wave. Wekiva does dodge the proverbial bullet there. That was a high-quality shot.
Yeah, Kerry Davis, I think, got a piece of that. Barber can't get it from under the basket. Nikhil Edward comes up with the rebound.
Some hard Windex work under the boards. Hammond the other way, floats the bank.
Jamaric Hammond, coast to coast for the Mustangs layup.
57-42, 1 minute in the third quarter. Stokes on defense, ball goes out of bounds, will remain with Hagerty.
And that went off the foot, I think, of Stokes there.
Yes, it did. He slapped that ball down and it went straight down his leg and touched his foot. And before we get to that last minute, we're going to have a timeout.
30-second timeout called by the Huskies.
So 57-42 is the score. Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, and Sports Information Director here at Wekiva High School. Neil Fisher joining me from the Apopka Chief for tonight's game. This is going to conclude season 14 of Mustang basketball.
The regular season. And the score is 57-42. Hagerty in the lead. They've led from start to finish.
Broom is called here for traveling. Mustangs ball.
Hagerty getting off to a 12-0 start. And again, they were a very hard start to the game. Only 2 of 8 from the field, but at 50% at halftime. So just to give you an idea of the fact that they have been hitting those field goals since midway through the first quarter. And unfortunately, Wekiva gives up possession of the ball, 45 seconds remaining.
Checking into the game for Wekiva, number 10, Isaiah Laster.
Pair of 10 and 13 teams, and for Hagerty, that is a down year. As Laster picks up the interception, looks like a DB jumping the route. Can't get the follow-up. All kinds of action, and Hammond comes out with it. He'll set the offense with 30 seconds. Wekiva certainly could use some points here. Not going to happen. Some arc underneath by Prophet. Off the bank and score the deuce.
Bosi Prophet for 2.
So Prophet, the JV call-up about a month ago, continues to pay dividends, and now Laster is going to try to follow up. Can't do that. 12 seconds remaining. Hagerty 57-44. Are they going to get that one last shot off? Yes, they will. And an easy shot for Barber, who makes it 59-44. And we have an injury. That's Hammond down on the floor. He's laying on his stomach.
Caleb Barber gets the basket. We'll pause for an injury timeout.
And as you can see, Hammond now has rolled over onto his back, and he is holding his, can't tell exactly where, but it's part of his right leg as the athletic training staff tends to him. 3 seconds remaining. And the story of this game has been Wekiva unable to really sustain any consistency in their decision making, and Hammond does walk off under his own power. The lead has been as many as 19 after Hagerty came out and scored the first 12 points. About a handful of times, Wekiva's cut the lead down to 10, even got down to 8 once, and then they make a couple of mistakes, and that lead grows back up to 18-19. This is Stokes. And
Donovan Stokes has the last word of the third quarter. And that takes us to a 13-point ball game. The Huskies lead the Mustangs 56-49 at the end of three quarters.
So the best possible ending for Wekiva, dropping the deuce, cutting that lead to 13. We'll see if they can capitalize in the fourth quarter. This is the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network.
The Huskies have the opening possession of the fourth quarter. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. And Wekiva still struggling to stay in this ball game, but they got a shot in the arm thanks to Jamaric Hammond right as time expired on the third quarter. And so momentum, at least for the moment, favoring the Mustangs as they try to get back in this one.
Yeah, so your score is 59-46. And Wekiva with another opportunity. That's Pringle, the JV call-up, behind the back over to his JV call-up teammate Profit, and he can't get the scoop to roll in. And come down the other way and
Andrew
drops the
Broom
tray.
for three.
And that's been another story statistically. Those three-pointers and that field goal percentage for Hagerty, they've just shot the balls light out since about 4 minutes into this game. Wekiva tries to answer, probably should not have attempted that. Nonetheless, Hagerty has control, and they got an opportunity to get that lead back up beyond 16. They will not. Pringle pulling the ball down. And Davis unable to handle the ball. We come back the other way. Both teams with two possessions in the at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And Hagerty turns it over. And immediately a foul on Barber.
Foul is called against number 3, Caleb Barber. That's his third personal foul. The team's fourth.
So a pair of teams coming into this game. Of course, this is the regular season finale for Wekiva, who has possession of the ball. One more game remaining. That'll be tomorrow night for Hagerty. They're both 10-13. And next week, of course, the district championship tournaments will take place. And if you're these teams, you could certainly use a victory here for a number of reasons.
Yeah, actually, the Mustangs will be playing Southlake at Southlake Tuesday at 7.
Yes. And, of course, the other story is individually Ja Enzi. He has been the leading scorer for Hagerty, as Lasser, unable to get the tray ball, comes out to Profit. He can't get the tray, short. And speaking of Enzi, now he does the work on the boards. Interception by Stokes. And unfortunately could not stay in bounds.
Now that might be probably the second mistake all night that Ja Enzi has made. He's got 33 points. He's kind of slowed down here in the last few minutes. He hit 33 about midway through the third quarter, so he's had a quiet few minutes. I don't think he's seen quite as many of those minutes because Hagerty, frankly, doesn't need him. But yeah, he's had a banner night. I mean, he's going to be the stat line in the newspaper tomorrow for sure.
In the meantime, Mitchell, guarded by Pringle, gives up the ball. We come the other way. That's Profit. And he scores the deuce off the bank. 62-48.
Varsity Profit gets 2 for the Mustangs.
62-48. And Wekiva with another opportunity, another quick steal. Stokes back to Pringle, and he makes the withdrawal.
Stokes to Pringle for the Mustangs basket.
And so once again, that cuts the lead to 62-50. Now, all night, Wekiva has been cutting that lead down to 10, 12 points. They've not been able to go further than that.
Isaiah Laster steals 2 for the Mustangs.
3 consecutive turnovers from Hagerty. Wekiva in the 1-3-1 full court trap paying dividends. And a 4th consecutive turnover, critical possession. Can Wekiva cut it down to 8? No, they will cut it to 7.
Three-point basket for Isaiah Laster. And we'll pause for a break.
62-55, 5:05 remaining. And you can certainly feel some enthusiasm picking up here in Mustang Gymnasium. And Wekiva's going to get the ball back. I'm not sure why or what happened. But nonetheless, that 7-point lead is the closest Wekiva has been since that 12-0 run opened up the game for Hagerty. And we will take a break, 62-55.
Full timeout called by the Mustangs.
5:05 remaining, Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network.
Finals.
And Mustang Gymnasium is the site. Neil Fisher, Mark Varsity bringing you live action in the broadcast production department from Wekiva, headed up by Keith Dickerson, handling the video aspect of this broadcast. Score is 62-55. Hagerty in the dark jerseys have led from start to finish. However, 7 points is the closest Wekiva has been since a 12-0 run by Hagerty started this game. So they have possession. They have a chance to cut into the lead. They've scored, I believe it's 8 straight points now. And, another bad decision. Bad pass. And at the other end, worst possible situation, the basket in the trip to the free throw line.
Enzi with the basket and a chance to make it a 3-point play. The foul is called against Donovan Stokes. That's his 4th personal foul and the team's 5th.
And that has been the story all night, Mark. Talked about this over and over again. Wekiva cuts into that lead, and then they make a couple of bad decisions. Hagerty takes advantage, and a lead grows back.
It's 36 points in the books now for Enzi.
65-55, what could have been a 5-point deficit, maybe even 4, is now 10.
And Enzi is perfect at the free throw line tonight. He has taken, he's 12 of 13, so near perfect, 92% at the free throw line tonight.
Loose ball picked up, break by Wekiva. That's Profit. Oh, beautiful bounce pass into Laster, who withdraws from the bank.
Isaiah Laster from Profit for 2.
So 65-57, a much-needed point there for Wekiva. Don't want that 3-point play on the previous possession to grow anymore.
Abia Charles is called on the foul. That's his 4th personal. It's the team's 6th.
4:09 remaining. Hayden Salati will be inbounding the ball as Abaya Charles comes out for Wekiva. And Profit on defense. Inbound to Broom. He'll bring the ball up, set the offense. Picks up a pick. Over to Salati. Over to Mitchell. He's going to drive the lane, stop, wants the double team pair. Salati back at right wing extended, over to the left corner. The shot from Broom, and he drains the rain.
Broom for three from Salati.
So a 12-point lead is now in effect. And Salati gets his hand on that ball. It will remain with Wekiva, but that certainly did stop the opening they had to drive the lane. It's actually an 11-point lead, 3:36 remaining. And again, the story has been every time Wekiva cuts into that lead, they were able to get the lead down to 7, had an opportunity to get it down to 5 or even 4, and then a turnover, which culminated in a 3-point play at the other end, followed by a second turnover and a basket, and the lead is back up to 11. Profit will draw the foul. So that will be a break for Wekiva. The clock will stop.
Mosi Profit is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. Foul called against number 12, Walker Mitchell, his first, team's 5th.
And so Profit will be at the line, and he cannot get that first free throw to drop.
Got 14 points in the book so far, trying to get 15.
He's the leading scorer for Wekiva, and again, came off the bench in the second quarter, a JV call-up about a month ago. And a couple more points left on the board, left on the table, to use the old cliche. 68-57, and certainly you cannot leave those points on as we drop to 3 minutes. And there's exactly why the drain is
Walker
drained.
Mitchell to Andrew Broom for 3, and we'll pause for a timeout. Full timeout called by Hagerty.
And that brings the lead to 14, 71-57. Wekiva's consecutive run streak answered by Hagerty with 7 in a row themselves.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief. Ready for the last 3 minutes and 5 seconds as soon as Hammond picks up the ball. And we are back underway.
And Broom for Hagerty, who dropped that tray and forced the timeout. He has 19 points now and I believe 5 trays. And once again, Wekiva in that area where they are now giving up consecutive points after cutting into the lead. 2:45 remaining. Hagerty scored the first 12 points and a nice slow
Walker
drive.
Mitchell cruises down the baseline for the Husky layup.
Now that lane just opened up like the Red Sea, and Mitchell said thank you and dropped the deuce. 73-57. About 2 minutes ago, the lead was only 5. So that'll help.
Isaiah Laster on the second chance basket for the Mustangs.
So that basket will help. Still 73-59. That will not.
Fast break basket scored by Walker Mitchell, and we'll pause for a Mustang timeout.
So a
30-second timeout called by Wekiva.
It looked like a replay of the previous play. The only difference was it was to the right side. The lane opened up, and the deuce was dropped by Mitchell, 75-59, 2:13 remaining. Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network. And we return to action here at Mustang Gymnasium, home of Wekiva Mustangs. They have possession of the ball, and they are going to have to make a run quickly with only 2:06 remaining.
Isaiah Laster from Jamarick Hammond.
So they get off at least to the best possible start, cuts the lead to 75-61.
I'd like to believe that's exactly what Coach Lubin told them to do, but that is not, as Ja Enzi gets the basket and a chance to make it a three-point play. Foul is called against number 1, Donovan Stokes. That's his 5th personal foul. He retires from the game with 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists.
So that will take us to 1:54 remaining, 77-61. NZ now with 38 points.
Strike that. The foul is called against Isaiah Laster. That makes it his first.
So if NZ converts this free throw, he will have 39 for the game. More importantly, though, the season finale really does not look like it's going to end in Wekiva's favor. They're going to have to really make an incredible run here now. They are down by 17, 78-61. And this is Davis slashing through the lane. He will drop the deuce, gets that roll.
Isaiah Laster.
But time is, again, ticking and not the friend of Wekiva. 1:30 remaining. 14-point deficit, which needs to be made up. Again, this is the regular season finale for Wekiva. Hagerty has one more game tomorrow night. Both teams come in at 10-13. And for a number of reasons, certainly could use a victory heading into the district championship tournaments next week. In the meantime, we have an injury. That's one of the Hagerty players down.
That is Timmy Horenick.
So can't really tell what's wrong. In the meantime, Coach Lubin calls Wekiva over. And we'll try to make some strategy here to make up this 15-point deficit in a little under a minute and a half.
And that is one of the things about injury timeouts, is that while it's not a charge timeout, the coach who's not involved is free to use it to counsel his players as long as they stay on the court, and that's exactly what Coach Lubin will do there.
So mention again, both teams come in at 10-13. That is certainly below standards for Hagerty. Of course, they won the state championship in 2013, as you see.
Timmy Hornick shaking up on the play, makes his way off with assistance from our training and coaching staffs. It'll be Huskies ball at the opposing baseline.
And Hagerty is ranked number 50th in Class 7A across the state of Florida. They're 269 overall. That's the max prep ratings. And so this
Stokes steals the inbound. So the Mustangs have an opportunity to cut here. Air ball shot by Lastard. Way too much mustard on that.
Yeah, and I think that might have just been the last gasp for Wekiva. Down by 15. NZ getting a hand on that ball. And Wekiva will get possession of the ball, but I don't think there just isn't enough time to make up 15 points. Only a minute remaining. So that's why I thought that was the last gasp. Davis takes the shot, the tray. Laster pulling the rebound down, and he loses it to Broom. And Hagerty immediately gets into the front court. And NZ with the tray, that puts him over 40 for the night. And
NZ picks up his 42nd point of the night with a 3.
And I believe whatever opportunity has just been shut for Wekiva to win. That was Pringle cutting the lead to 81-63. Now Hagerty's just trying to kill the remaining amount of time on the clock, 20 seconds. NZ will take another shot. This is no good. Underneath the boards, and the offensive rebound.
Putback made by Caleb Barber.
And so that will do it, 83-65 as Pringle, one last shot actually for Davis, and that will do it. 83-67 is the final score. Wekiva closes out the regular season at 10-14, unable to sustain a run, cut it down to 7 points, but then gave up 10 more points to Hagerty.
That takes us to the end of the ball game. 83-67 the final score here at Mustang Arena, and that takes us to the end of season 14. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for coming out tonight, all season long and over these past 14 seasons, to support your Mustangs and your Husky athletes. Thanks also to those of you who joined us online on YouTube or the NFHS network. We have an opportunity to see the ladies take to the court tomorrow night. Wekiva hosts the girls basketball Class 6A District 4 championship game tomorrow night at 7. Tickets at gofan.co, and the live stream exclusively available at nfhsnetwork.com. As for the men, this concludes the regular season for Wekiva. Hagerty actually has one more game tomorrow before they call an end to the regular season, and then the Mustangs will be playing in the district tournament at South Lake. They are the number 4 seed taking on the number 5 Eagles. That'll be at South Lake Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock if you'd like to join them for that. Once again, thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you in the arena, please drive carefully and arrive home safely. Those of you tuning in online, please subscribe before you go. Good night from Mustang Arena.